morning, you guys, it's Karen, and I wanted to come and tell you about something that I'm pretty sure not many people will know is potentially helpful for migraines and headaches, specifically the headache part of migraine. I mentioned in my video that I just did on migraine and how it's affected my mental health that I got so desperate I was asking ChatGPT what would be the treatment for refractory migraine, which is what I have. And refractory migraine is a migraine that doesn't respond to normal treatments. And this is one of the answers that it came up with, and I was literally looking at it going, are you sure? Brow lift for a migraine. Now the funny thing is, I've wanted a brow lift for a while for several reasons. One, because if you guys have been with me for a while, and especially if you followed me over on my Beauty Maverick channel, I have had Botox over the years along my eyebrows to pull my eyebrow up as an eyebrow lift, and it's something that I've always loved in terms of holding up this. It makes my eyes look less hooded and less sort of wrinkly, and I do this a lot in videos, I've noticed. And when I've had Botox, which I haven't had, by the way, since way last year, so it's a long time since I've had it, but when I hold them up I look more wide awake, I feel more wide awake. You know, I had blepharoplasty, so I had upper eyelid blepharoplasty. Did not like the results. It just, to me, it pulled my eyebrows down. Anyway, so I've wanted a brow lift because I can't be bothered constantly having Botox. This would be a more permanent solution. My eyebrows are slightly uneven, asymmetrical. I'm trying to show you because I'm holding my eyebrows up, but what happens is this one kind of sinks down because the muscle is weaker on this side, do you see? And so I sometimes see that in photos, and yeah, I just think that it would achieve what I want to achieve. I couldn't always achieve it with Botox either. There seemed to be, the older I got on, the harder it was to get somebody to be able to do it. So those are the reasons that I wanted a brow lift, completely cosmetic, but it is expensive. It is, I've put here as a guide price, it's between 3,000 and 9,000. So there's a big gap in price there, but that's because it depends exactly how they do the brow lift. There's two types. There's an endoscopic brow lift and there's a traditional brow lift. The endoscopic is just with little incisions and they go through and lift your brow up, but the traditional is more of it's a larger incision. So it depends how they do it. It depends where in the country you are. I think it's probably more expensive in London. It depends if you're having it done under general anaesthetic or local anaesthetic. One of the reasons I hadn't really seriously looked into it is because I personally wouldn't want to go under general anaesthetic for a cosmetic procedure. I feel like that's just too much of a risk. But they do it in Glasgow with local anaesthetic. There is a company I found. Like I said, something I've wanted done for years, but never been able to afford it. Didn't think I was able to have it done under local anaesthetic, so didn't really think much more of it. Then up it pops when I'm looking, you know, when I'm asking GPT, and I thought, surely not, surely that's got it wrong, because, you know, AI, I don't know whether you guys have noticed this, but when you search something on Google now, it comes up with an AI result, and sometimes it doesn't even make sense, and sometimes it's just plain wrong or contradictory. There was one that came up and it said one thing and then completely contradicted itself in the next sentence, and I thought, yeah, that just shows you AI is not perfect, you know. So I thought, let me see. So I put in brow lift for migraine and was really surprised to find that there are many studies and many professionals talking about it from as long as 20 years ago. And I think what happened is they were doing brow lifts and people were coming back and saying that they had had less headaches than less migraines. So why they believe it works is they think it's creating more space in this area and it's reducing pressure on the nerves. So there's lots of little studies and little reports. There's nothing major. Like there's one here that I looked at called Understanding Patient-Reported Outcomes, and it was looking at headaches and other outcomes of having a brow lift, and in that there were 57 patients, but there were only 16 of those that suffered from chronic migraine. But of those 16, 8 of them, so 50%, reported improvement in frequency or intensity of migraines. There was another one that was the effects of upper blepharoplasty on headaches depending on the brow position, and a lot of those had less headaches, but what they did say in the study was that they didn't have anybody with severe headaches, they only had people with mild headaches. But there's all of this information out there and experience, and it does look like it is something that helps with migraine. I guess what they need to do is do a big, you know, randomized, double-blind, somehow controlled study that does a brow lift and see if it helps. I guess they just need to do a much bigger study, a much bigger and better clinical trial. You know, I'm not sure how this could even be double blind, because you can't pretend to give somebody a brow lift. Maybe you could just make some little incisions, but I can't see anybody signing up for that. But yeah, it needs to be a bigger study. I thought I would let you guys know about this though, because I don't know if it will be useful for me, because here's the problem. They say that if a brow lift will work for you, then most likely Botox will work for you. So you probably need to look at it the other way round. If you have Botox for migraines and it works for you, then a brow lift would give you a potentially permanent solution. Or not permanent, I guess a brow lift would last probably 10 years or so. For me, I had Botox for migraines. I had 3 lots, I think, at least 2 anyway, but possibly 3. And they did, I think, 36 injections all over. She did some in my forehead. They only did the forehead once though. And when I've had my own Botox over the years, it's never made any difference to my migraines. So the fact is, for me, it's probably not a solution having a brow lift. You know, it's probably not something that would work for me, if being as the Botox in any of the forms I've had it, but specifically the ones for migraines have not done anything. It doesn't mean I won't have a brow lift, because I would try anything that had even a small chance of working for migraines. But if at any point I can afford it, I mean, I would have it done tomorrow if I could afford it, because like I said, it's something I would love to try, and I would try anything that may help a migraine, regardless of the whole Botox worked and it didn't work. So watch this space and I'll let you know if I do go for it. But I thought it would be useful for you guys to know out there that maybe there's somebody that has been umming and ahhing about a brow lift, and I think it's good information to know that there are clinics that do the brow lift under local anaesthetic. Sorry about that, my battery ran out. I was saying that I think that there's some important information that you can take away from this, which is, one, that there are places that will do brow lift without having to go under general anaesthetic. So I think that's something to consider, both from a beauty aspect and also from a migraine aspect. Secondly, that this is a possibility, and you know, obviously with it being so expensive, it's not the first thing everybody's going to run out and do, but if, like me, you are desperate, it's something you can put on your wish list. You know, that's, for me, I can't currently afford it, so it's on my wish list and I will try and manifest it. And you can keep an eye on the medical world as well, because it may be that this becomes either part of a clinical trial or it becomes standard practice. You know, I know that they do it in some places, but for the people that they do it for in America, this is that I found it, they will only do it if everything else hasn't worked, but Botox has worked. I believe that's the criteria, because like I said, if you've had Botox and it worked, it's more likely that this will too. They have to have tried certain other treatments as well. That's everything. I hope that was interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you again soon.